all praise is due to Allah, who has united the hearts of the believers in Islam and has made it an obligation to remain united and has made it forbidden to become separated in his clear book. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who guides to the straight path whom he wills, and I bear witness that our leader Muhammad is his messenger and the best caller to the way that is straight. O Allah, send your prayers and your peace upon our leader Muhammad and upon his family and upon his companions, whose hearts were united and whose souls were educated, so that they became victorious leaders. And what follows thereafter, O believers of Allah, I advise you as well as I advise myself, to first have the proper regard for Allah and thereafter be obedient to him. Dear believers, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you. We are still working through the Rabbis. And the Rabbis, as we have discussed, are those statements in the Quran that begin, "Oh my Lord." And they are, in a way, a spin-off or another type of request or dua that is made. In the Quran, we've previously discussed the Rabbanas, and they're known to be 40 Rabbanas. And these statements are, they say, "Oh, our Lord," where it is a communal request or a communal statement, a communal dua. But this one is individual. This Rabbi is. And so we have gotten back to a Rabbi that is from the Prophet Ibrahim. And we know the Prophet Ibrahim very well. He is the prophet that we discussed during the Eid al-Adha, the one who was seeking out this proper way of worship and the different manner in which that he did that. And when we think about the Prophet Ibrahim and these rabbis that he said, or these rabbis, even rabbanas from Prophet Ibrahim, his conversations, his interactions, the things or the audiences that he keeps when he speaks within the Quran are fairly small. They're fairly small. The largest audience or biggest group that it is alluded to is the crowd that was there at the time when he was a youth and destroyed the idols that his father made. And we discussed that pretty thoroughly around the time of the Eid al-Adha. And so that within the story of the Prophet Ibrahim is when he has a larger crowd. And so I want you to keep that in mind in context when we get to this Rabbi of this week. Now, we are in the Surah Ibrahim. He's also known as the Prophet Abraham, but we are in the Surah Ibrahim for this Rabbi. And the verse before the Rabbi that we're looking at is a Rabbi or a restatement of a Rabbi that we've discussed prior, where the Prophet Ibrahim asked, he said, "Oh my Lord, make this a city of peace." Speaking of the town of Mecca, asking the Creator to make it a city of peace. This was his personal request. And then about 3 to 4 verses after the Rabbi that we're looking at, the verse that holds that Rabbi, there are Rabbana duas that are in this same space of about 6 or 7 verses. So today's Rabbi, it says, "Oh my Lord, indeed they led many astray among mankind. So whoever follows me is of me," or is with me. "And whoever disobeys me, but still you are the all-forgiving, most merciful." And when I looked at this verse, it took me a while to understand what was the Prophet Ibrahim attempting to communicate. Because it seemed as though he cut off mid-thought. He was making a statement about those who follow him, or those who believe the things that he's saying are with him. And then it said, "But those who disobey me." And he spoke no more of that, he then turned and put praises on the Creator and said, "You are oft forgiving, most merciful." And so what I got from that was that initially he was saying, "Oh my Lord, indeed, they." He didn't specify they. He didn't specify how many were in this they. And when we spoke earlier, we said that his interactions, his conversations were with smaller groups. And even the group that was with him and his father when they were having this discussion about these broken idols, he didn't have knowledge of how many or how much, what large group of people that they influenced to do wrong or to lead astray. He didn't have that knowledge. So contextually, it couldn't have taken place within that time. So he said, "They indeed led many of mankind astray." And so he isolates and he creates this one group of people, the they who led many in mankind astray. And then he creates another group. He says, "Those who follow me are with me. They are of me." And we most recently talked about the prophet Noah, where his son went up on the mountain and he made that Rabbi, "Oh my Lord, surely my son is part of my family." And so we take that in context with the Prophet Ibrahim. He says, "Those who follow me are of me. Those who follow me are with me." So this is my family. Those who follow me, even though we may not be flesh and blood, if they follow my way, they are with me. But then he begins to say, "Those who disobey me," and he stops mid-thought. The question is why? If you think on it, the Prophet Ibrahim was only speaking on that which he knew. He was only speaking on the things that he had factual information to be true. And so one was the identification of the group that led many astray. Then the identification of knowing that those who follow me are with me or of me. But he could not speak. He could not speak on those who disobeyed him. But he could speak to the fact that the Creator is all forgiving and most merciful. Meaning that he could not make a pronouncement of what would happen to those who didn't listen to him, because he was only going to engage with them in the time and space that the Creator allowed for him to. He didn't know what their life was going to be like after him. He didn't know in which direction they would go, if they would become followers of his way after his time. The Prophet Ibrahim only spoke on that which he knew to be true. أقول كذا استغفر لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. So here we are looking at the Prophet Ibrahim in this Rabbi, where he was only speaking on what it is that he knew to be true. For many of us, that is a problem. That is an issue. We make statements of someone's level of belief, someone's level of religiosity based on the information that we have, not knowing the conversations that they have with their Creator, not knowing how they may apply themselves, how they may pray, what they may be like when they leave our presence. And so sometimes we think that we are the gateway. And I know that, I can sense that to be the case sometimes when you're a religious leader, that you feel that you may be the gateway to somebody's religious expression, that the only way that they can express themselves religiously in a good way is to do it the way that you do it and the time and space that you do. Not understanding that Allah, as the Prophet Ibrahim stated, is all forgiving and most merciful. That Allah may provide for them, even though in this moment they may not express themselves religiously in the best way. Even if their behavior is such that they have led people in a wrong direction, maybe through their influence on the internet, maybe through their writing, maybe through music, maybe through any various mediums, that they led many among mankind astray. And so sometimes for us, we think like the Prophet Ibrahim. They say, well, if they follow me, if they do what I do, if they think as I think, if they live as I live, then they are of me. They are Muslim. They are good believers. They are good religious people because they reflect what it is that I'm putting out, and it makes me feel as though there's some influence on my part, so they must be good. They must be believers. They must be of me. And then when we come across those who don't listen, who may not expect or accept your good counsel, we're like, well, they disobey me. They're never going to be any good. They're always going to be a disbeliever. They're always going to be that. They will never change their ways. And we make these statements or these assumptions to things that we have no knowledge of. But in this Rabbi, in this statement made by the Prophet Ibrahim, he shows us a better way of thinking. A way for us to be of him or to be with him. And that's to only speak on the things that we have factual information about. He was able to identify that I must pray or say something to my creator, that I have a creator. So he said, oh my Lord, oh my creator, oh the one who made me, oh the one who provided everything in my life that I need, oh my Lord. This group that is identifiable, they have led many among mankind astray. He knew this to be a fact. This is why he made this statement. And he said, so whoever follows me, so whoever goes along with what I'm saying, they are of me. They are with my group. They should be protected. They should receive the same benefits that I believe because they are with me. This was his statement to the Creator, that I know this to be a fact, that I know that they are with me. But then he stops. And those who disobey me, pause. He stops. And he goes back to that which he knows. And the thing that he knows is that Allah, the Creator, is all forgiving. That he has the capacity to forgive those who may have led so many among mankind astray. And that Allah is all merciful. That he can even extend his mercy. He even extends his mercy to those who do wrong. He doesn't just reserve it for those who do the right thing. He's reserved it even for those who do wrong. And so these are the things that the Prophet Ibrahim was aware of. And if we take nothing else, from this Rabbi of the Prophet Ibrahim, We should take away that we should only speak on those things that we know to be true. Only speak on those things that we have knowledge of, that Allah allowed us to have knowledge of. Because we are still recipients of the forgiveness of Allah. We are still recipients of the mercy of Allah. So let us do our best. Let's do our best to only speak on those things that we have explicit knowledge of. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك السميع العليم إن الصلاة ونسك ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له بذلك أمرت وأنا من المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.